Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Offside Zone. We got a coverage show for you from the Peach Bowl last night. That game was supposed to air tandem with this show on YouTube, but I've lost the production material from the game last night. I cannot believe it. I assure you the next user game that Shark Davis plays, Flathead Willie will have it on YouTube. But regardless of the result, has nothing to do with anything of the result. It was a great game last night. Keys to victory for Arkansas State was going to be stopping quarterback number 15 for West Virginia, Derek Goodspeed, and they failed to do that. At one point in time, he was 17 for 17 on the game. One of the keys to victory for West Virginia last night was to stop Trevor Hatchett. And arguably, they stopped half of Trevor Hatchett. He had a decent day in the receiving game, but really balled it up in the run game. And Trevor Hatchett's been a tandem player for Arkansas State all year. So when West Virginia, they just focused on getting him taken care of in the run game, and they did that. They balled him up all night for the most part. Trevor Hatchett took half of his game away, and he wasn't near the impact player that he normally is in these games. But game started out, Arkansas State 3-and-out, punt to West Virginia. A few plays later, couple Derek Goodspeed runs, and a few passes later, and a couple halfback handoffs, and it's 7-3 West Virginia. And Arkansas State got the football back, went down the field. They got up 10-7. Then West Virginia got the ball back 14-10. And I think there was a field goal in there or something from Arkansas State. But regardless, about 14 points or 13 points, I can't exactly remember, folks, and I apologize. But Arkansas State kind of stayed pretty stagnant there for a lot of the game. The mid two quarters, West Virginia controlled the game. The latter part, middle of the fourth, West Virginia's up big, 3 scores. And Elijah Deuce took his foot off the gas, essentially, but went a little bit more conservative game plan to chew up the clock, get out of there with the victory, move on. That was kind of the game plan. All three of these clubs have high-powered offenses. Penn State, West Virginia, and Arkansas State, they can all work really fast at times. And Arkansas State utilized that more conservative time-chewing gameplay. They were able to knock out a couple stops against West Virginia. And after that, they were able to get back in it with that high-paced offense, made it an 8-point game. At the end, came down to an onside kick. It was pretty well over at that point with no timeouts left and needing that onsider. But, it came down to some late game miracles. Could have maybe changed a different conversation, but that's what it would have taken. West Virginia handled their keys to victory. Arkansas State's keys to victory was stopping that middle linebacker, Darryl Moon, and containing quarterback Derek Goodspeed, and they essentially failed to do both. So, that's why we're having this conversation. West Virginia's moving on. Shark Davis is preparing for next year. Demir Turbin, top recruit in the nation, heading to Penn State to take under center next year. Ethan Grunkmeyer's going to have some competition. We're going to find out. Coach G's already on the podium and already on the record saying Demir Turbin's going to be a household name coming to that TV box near you. So, we're going to find out. Offside Zone has no trouble covering good stats. If Demir Turbin can put up the type of stats that previous people that Flathead's covered, Caden Veldkamp comes to mind, Garrett Nussmeier comes to mind, Derek Goodspeed comes to mind, Ryan Rivers comes to mind, Ethan Grunkmeyer comes to mind, yeah. And Ethan Grunkmeyer, the coverage on Penn State and Ethan Grunkmeyer this year just was a little bit slight. It just was a little bit short. And I'll admit that. Maybe I didn't give Ethan Grunkmeyer and Penn State their dues. But we're getting ready to find out, because Coach G, he's already said West Virginia and Coach Elijah Deuce going to get everything we got. But next year, 5-star quarterback coming to Penn State. If he puts the stats up and earns the coverage, I'm going on the record right now saying I'll definitely share some love with that quarterback headed to Happy Valley. Like I said, it was a great game last night. Those two coaches, they had, Elijah Deuce in the post-game presser alluded to the fact that, they went a little bit conservative in the middle of the fourth quarter, just trying to run the clock out, get out of there, and Arkansas State come roaring back a little bit, and he pretty much said, no more. We get somebody, especially in a winner go home situation, get the foot on somebody's neck, we're just going to keep the pressure on next time, because it almost cost us. But team rallied at the end and got what we needed. Got the win. We're on to the next round. So, West Virginia's moving on. Arkansas State's going home. Shark Davis is already making preparations for next year, looking at his recruiting board, seeing who's coming in. Arkansas State's got a lot of three. They don't have any twos, I don't believe. They got a lot of threes and 1 or 2 4s coming in. So that school is going to be better next year than it was this year. I expect Arkansas State to be in the playoffs next year. First 2 years wasn't sure, particularly this year, knowing the first game of the year they lost to Clemson. But they rectified that in the playoffs and made it to the quarters and no further. So, Shark Davis is now 3-2 in the playoffs and lost in the semis last year and the quarters this year. And although I hadn't been saying that they'd make it, maybe they didn't deserve to be there the first 2 years. Arkansas State, this, that, they don't deserve whatever. Well, next year, it's expected. They're going to be a 3-star school. They've already made it their first 2 years. Shark Davis, 2 playoff appearances, 2 seasons coached. It'll be expected for Shark Davis to make it to the playoffs next year. And I believe there'll be a higher expectation. I'm thinking Natty Championship bid. National Championship bid, maybe. We'll see. Be nice if Shark Davis could get that club to the Natty. But you know what? Getting them back into the playoffs is expected, and making some progress down the line, that's also expected now. They're on the map. They're going to be a good school. They've proven that. Shark Davis can take a crew of people that maybe shouldn't be there, a band of players, and get the most out of them and get them there. So, Coach Elijah Deuce, he's already got his squad starting to build. Got a lot of big-time recruits coming in, and all of them are big-time, big hitters. No little guys coming to West Virginia. Old Cadillac Jack, he got that big white Cadillac full of money. NIL deals. He going to try to steal some people in the transfer. You watch and see. So, that's all I got for you. We got a collision course coming up. West Virginia, Penn State. West Virginia, Penn State. We got a collision course. You know it and I know it. Penn State and West Virginia is going to take care of their semifinal games. They're going into the Natty Championship. Keys to victory for that game. West Virginia needs to figure out a way to contain Garrett Nussmeier and Garrett Nussmeier. I apologize. Boy, this is really going to upset Ethan. Ethan Grunkmeyer, he's got to figure out a way to contain Ethan Grunkmeyer's arm and legs and all them receivers that he had for over 1,000 yards. Should be a good game. And keys to victory for Penn State are going to be contained Daryl Moon and number 15. Same 2 keys for Arkansas State. And number 15 can throw it to anybody, so look out for them, and he can run anywhere. just like Grunkmeyer. So look out for all that. Going to be a good national championship, folks. I really hope, really hope that this thing comes down to the wire and it's a barn burner of a game. That's all I got for you today for the Offside Zone. I'm your man, Flathead Willie, and I'm out.